All right, we're live. Episode 2 of the Backdoor Cover brought to you by Better Than Vegas. Better Than Vegas or BetterThanVegas.com. Either one works these days. I'm BlackJack Fletcher. That beautiful bastard is Kyle Purviance over there out in Oregon sweating his ass off to
It's
do this
disgusting. I'm so fat and old and sloppy too. It's just so ridiculous. You know what I mean? But I gotta say, I love that pre-show music too. That's pretty dope. Though. That was a nice touch. I really like that. Episode 2. This is my favorite show of the week. I mean, it's not even close. Like, for me, it's the only time where I don't feel like I'm actually working, where I actually can have some damn fun. Shout out to our boys at Better Than Vegas for taking the cuffs off and letting us have fun. And I love seeing my beautiful brother, Mr. BlackJack. And God, I'm already liking what I'm hearing about the opening week of NFL season. I'm ready for September now because that is going to be a shit show. We're doing it hard.
Yeah, we are. For those of you who may not be aware, we're going to have a big party out in Vegas for the opening weekend of the NFL season. Anyone who wants to come, more than welcome to. It's going to be a great time. We're going to really blow it out. So we've got a lot going on.
First round's on me.
There you
go.
There you go. That. We got a lot going on, but I guess we should probably start, Kyle, by talking about this game that just ended. The Bucks beat the Hawks here in Game 3, take a 2-1 series lead. I think we're finally done with the fucking Hawks. This team is like a case of fucking herpes. Like they just every time you think they're gone, they just flare back up again. Mm-hmm. I think we're done with them now. This was Milwaukee took their best shot, right? In the first half, and they were down almost 20. And then they fight back, and eventually in the fourth quarter put them away. I think we're done with the Hawks.
Yeah.
I mean, right? This is Phoenix, Milwaukee.
Yeah, it's Phoenix, Milwaukee, and it's not overly exciting, but there's star power there. Fucking Deandre, and I want to talk about that Phoenix Clippers thing because some of the commentary in that game annoyed the living shit out of me, so we'll get to that. But yes, I'm so grateful that Milwaukee hit. I expect some apologies from some people telling me I'm an idiot for taking the Pat Connaughton points, rebounds, assist prop. How about you watch the goddamn games? Then you'll know that's why you take the prop and you take those low number. Who wants to bet over 53.5 with Giannis when you can get an 11.5 with the bench guy that you know is going to play 25, 30 minutes? That's how it's done. And yeah, we're done with the fucking Hawks. You're right. They are a case of the herpes. I like what they're doing in Atlanta. I like all those young players. But we need a supremely talented team in the finals. You can't have this bullshit where you have, Hawks. You can't have Hawks Clippers without Kawhi. You just can't have that. No. You just cannot have that. So yeah, I'm excited for Milwaukee to be there. Even though I hate the Bucks, this is the one thing that pisses me off. I talked about this last week. I hate having to root for the Bucks because I hate every team from Wisconsin. I just do. Sure. I'm sorry, Wisconsin, but I hate the Packers. I hate the Brewers. And I hate the Bucks, especially Coach Budenholzer. Coach Budenholzer is the guy that listens to Creed on the way to the game, right?
That guy sucks.
He's straight up throwing on Nickelback when he gets in the car and he's driving to the arena. I cannot stand it. He's a horrible coach. This series should not be that close, and they did. The Hawks came out hot. They had them on the ropes. Milwaukee fought back and won. I suspect if Atlanta can keep doing, and it's not a great sports city. We already know that about Atlanta. And I say this and people get all pissed off, but
fake sports town.
It is. And Junior touched on it great on our NBA show that we did yesterday. It's a tourist town. I lived in San Diego for 18 years. It's a tourist town. So no one gives a shit about their sports teams. It's sort of that way in Atlanta. But I'm happy the Bucks covered. Remember all the chat box telling us how dumb we are, and the Hawks hate, and and the Clippers hate, Well, guess who was right? Both of us were right because we said the exact same damn thing. Bucks -4, Suns -1. Boom, boom, boom. And hopefully Atlanta gets out of here soon and we can have a good final.
Yeah, listen, they're the better teams, and I'll tell you this. As good as Giannis is, and listen, he's probably the most athletically talented player in the NBA.
Sure.
Chris Middleton's the guy that makes this team go.
100%.
When Chris Middleton got hot in the fourth quarters, when this team took this game over.
Yep.
If you're the Bucks and you want to have a shot to win this thing, Chris Middleton's your guy, not Giannis. Giannis does great things on the floor, right? Like he does shit that nobody else can do.
Yeah.
But he also is 9 of 53 from 3 in the playoffs. Right. Chris Middleton is your guy that's got to drive this train.
Exactly, especially when things get down. We sort of talk about lemon booty in the playoffs where things slow down. This isn't up and down. You're not running the Kentucky Derby up and down the court.
No.
Nothing is easy in the playoffs. Teams are clamping down, so you have to play half-court offense. Now, I'm not going to bag on Giannis like I do on Ben Simmons. At least he has worked on it. At least he's shooting 53-3. At least he has
He's willing to do it.
He's willing to do it, and you can tell he's improving. He's working on it. He's not completely hapless in the half court, but you're 100% right. When it comes down to it, if the Bucks need a bucket in the half court, it's Chris Middleton or nothing for them. Even Drew Holiday was pretty pathetic today. But Chris Middleton is such a great mid-range shooter. He can create his own shot off the dribble. He can shoot the three. Those are all things that Giannis isn't all the way. Giannis can take one step from half court and dunk it. We know that. But Middleton, yes, he's the closer. Absolutely. And when he's on, Atlanta has absolutely no shot. Just zero shot, especially when John Collins is going to be in foul trouble. Bogdanovich seems a little bulky. They don't really seem to utilize Lou Williams how he should be. I mean, I don't know why. Why is Kevin Huter getting 35 minutes and Lou Williams is getting 15? You have that backwards, backwards that
it doesn't even make sense. Lou Williams is instant offense.
Yep,
that's what he is. I don't understand. I didn't understand the Clippers trading him for Rondo, and I don't understand the Hawks playing him as little as they play him.
Yeah, can you imagine the Clippers right now if they had Lou Williams instead of Rondo? They could have someone to replace that scoring for Kawhi Leonard. And I can't wait to get on that series because I'm so annoyed with Clippers fans. I can't wait to bash them and tell them to go fuck themselves. Straight up, I get more hate from Clippers fans. There was a guy commenting on our NBA show going, "What do you mean you went 4-0? I turned it off as soon as you started hating the Clippers." First of all, you're a giant pussy, okay?
Boom.
Because so you think my job, our job, is we're supposed to sit here and kiss the ass of the team that you like, and if we don't, you turn the show off? Well, guess what? I said, guess what? You lost 4 winners because you're a whiny little bitch. Like, see you later.
Right. That's right.
I don't want to hear another word. And we talk. It's the pussification of this whole country. And then the other thing I hear from Clippers fans, and I can't wait to get your input on this, is, well, if we had Kawhi Leonard, we win this series easily. Unless I miss something, you do have Kawhi Leonard. The problem is you baby the living shit out of this guy. He plays, he's fully healthy the entire year, plays 35 or 40 games because you rest him 2-3 days a week, and then you expect his body to show up in the playoffs. No, you're mentally weak. It was a bad philosophy. You guys deserve exactly what you are getting. And quit telling me you don't have Kawhi Leonard, because you do. The problem is he's not available because you mismanage him, and he is also mentally weak.
And we're going to get to that series in a minute, but you could not have hit the nail more squarely on the head. The Clippers took the regular season for nothing. They didn't give a shit about the regular season. Yeah. They rested Leonard and George constantly, okay? And then, now you want Kawhi Leonard to all of a sudden, after not playing any back-to-backs, to play every other day for a few months straight. No, it's not going to happen.
It's asinine.
The guy had one fucking injury in San Antonio that cost him a year that we don't even know really what happened with that injury, because the Spurs tell a very different story than he does.
Yep.
One injury, and since then, this guy's been playing halftime. Like, it's bullshit. I'm sorry. You're not a part-time employee. You're getting paid full-time. Play the game.
Exactly. That's what. And you just, like you just said, like, I was a contractor for a long time before I was blessed enough to be sitting here and talking with my dear friends, and just, like it's cool for me. Like, BlackJack's a fucking icon. I'm just sitting here. A guy drinks beer and talks some shit. You know what I mean? So it's cool for me. And I have him hooking me up with a very pretty woman. We're not going to say the name, but I have BlackJack on a mission. Let's just say that, on a mission, and I know we can get it done. There's no one I would trust more. But if I didn't do a roof for 3 weeks and then I hopped up on the roof the first day, I'm not like, I was so rested from the previous 3 weeks that I feel great today. I'm like, oh my God, what the hell did I do to myself? I don't understand the common sense thinking of these fucking NBA teams. And part of it's on Kawhi Leonard too. You are the one who wanted Kawhi. He is the one who says, hey, it's bingo night. I'm going to go play with my grandma. No, guess what? Now your body can't hold up. The biggest attribute that any superstar, any key player could ever have is availability. And if you don't have
availability,
that's it.
Show up and play the game. All right. If you're hurt, legitimately, I get no problem with you not playing. All right. But this was bullshit with Kawhi Leonard, and they didn't care. But before we dive more into the Clippers,
sorry about that. Yeah, it's my fault. I digressed.
I have to talk about another fan base, which is the fan base of the fucking Portland Trailblazers.
Oh, yeah.
Which might be, and I'm sorry because I know you live in Oregon, the dumbest bunch of sons of bitches I've ever heard of in my life, because they are this close to running out the best player they've ever had.
Yep.
The Blazers announced tonight during the fourth quarter of a playoff game that they've officially hired Chauncey Phillips on a 5-year deal. It came out earlier today, I guess, and this is something I was unaware of. You know, you and I follow sports really closely. I'd never heard of this. You'd never heard of this.
No.
Chauncey Phillips in 1997 was sued for sexual assault civilly, not criminally, with a woman claiming that him and Ron Mercer, his teammate at the time, had raped her. Obviously not a good thing. None of us knew about it prior to this coming out. Damian Lillard was asked what he thought of the candidates for the job, meaning Jason Kidd, Chauncey Billups, and at the time it was Mike D'Antoni, and I believe Jeff Van Gundy. And he said that he liked Jason Kidd and Chauncey Billups. The Blazers fans then proceeded to give Damian Lillard a healthy helping of shit, saying that he supported rapists and wife beaters.
Unbelievable.
And now Damian Lillard, and I think more than rightfully so, is like, I'm done.
Yeah, why would
I don't
he be?
understand this.
I've been sticking around a loser city. Look, I live in Oregon. I'm not a Blazers fan. When I was a kid, I had the opportunity to meet Clyde Drexler, Terry Port, that whole starting five that played Jordan in the final, Buck Williams, Jerome Kersey, all those guys. You know, and it's a cool thing for Oregon. So let me get this straight. And again, if we're talking about 1997, so we're talking about 16-year-old Kyle at this time. Not only did I follow sports just as close as I do now, but I was obsessed with it. There was nothing.
Especially the NBA.
This is before the age of the internet as well. Right. This is before the age of all that stuff. So there was no clipping or article or story that I was not following. I was obsessed with it, and I didn't know about this. Now, listen, nobody. I don't think if you took a poll, we could put a Twitter poll out. Do you think it's cool for someone to hit a woman? It's going to be, besides the sarcastic guy who says yes just for fun, it's going to be 99.99999% say no. And we all agree. But Jesus fucking Christ. So a guy, and again, I do not know the details of the story because like you, I've never heard of it until this happens.
The Phillips thing had never come out.
But Jesus, how are we holding people to this standard where if you did something wrong 20 years ago, you're not allowed to have a job. No one's allowed to say anything nice to you. No one's allowed to love you. No one's allowed to care about you. No one's allowed to admire you. You made one mistake. You're the worst person ever. I just don't get it. And Portland fans need to wake the fuck up a little bit. Damian Lillard is not only the best player they've ever had, and I'm including the Bill Waltons, the Kiki Vandeweghes, the Clyde Drexlers, the Terry Porters, the Rasheed Wallaces, the Damon Stoudemires, whatever fucking Blazer you want to throw up there. Damian Lillard is head and shoulders above, and Damian Lillard has been nothing but a champion in that community,
loyal
for that team. He could have done a James Harden. How many times
could bounced 4 years ago
and won a title? Damian Lillard, especially if he went and joined a guy like Kevin Durant or joined a guy like LeBron when he was still, they would have smashed. Blazers fans need to shut the fuck up. They're already. The people of Portland I'm a pretty liberal guy, and I don't like to say much about my political things, but you are doing nothing but making people look worse with your pussy ass bullshit. You have to be perfect from the day you were born until the day. Yeah,
we've all fucked up, okay?
It's
and the
so
Jason Kidd thing, like that, people get on Jason Kidd, and listen, the Jason Kidd thing I do remember, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember that. The Billups thing was it was not a thing. Like you said, we were both old enough to have known if this was a thing. It wasn't. Jason Kidd was a thing, right? Jason Kidd got into an argument with his wife. I believe it was over giving French fries to his kid.
Mm-hmm.
And he open hand slapped his wife. Not okay. Not acceptable.
Completely unacceptable.
It's wrong in every way, shape, and form. But does that one mistake mean that the man's entire life is ruined? I don't believe that it does, right? Okay? And then there's people who say, well, he got a DUI when he was in New York. Who amongst us has never gotten behind the wheel of a car having had a little too much to drink? If you're that person and you can honestly say that, credit to you, I guess.
Cool. Yeah, cool. But
does it make him a bad guy? No, I don't believe it does. Does it mean he should be unemployable for the rest of his life? No, I don't believe it does.
No, I don't think any mistake should be like that. And listen,
there are some.
Well, I get, yeah. Actually, there are some. I shouldn't say it. But when we're talking on this level, it's just, and Jason Kidd is atoned for that. He did so many things and had to go through all that stuff. And good Lord, it almost just takes words out of my mouth when I sit here. And thank you, Jason Kidd, for being here. And by the way, Ted Allen, go fuck yourself. Like, are you kidding? Like, you're coming in here like I don't know what I'm talking about. There's a reason why we are sitting here and you're sitting there trolling, because no one gives a fuck what you have to say. So just kick the fuck out of here. If you're here's the thing. If you're gonna be sensitive and you're easily offended, this is not going to be the show for you. Okay,
no, we're going to talk about uncomfortable things here. I'm sorry.
Yes,
nobody else in the media is going to be willing to say this. And again, I am not saying it is ever acceptable to put your hands on a woman. It is not. It is clearly a mistake. It is clearly something that he paid for. It is, but there is a difference between open hand slapping your wife in the heat of an argument and what we saw from some of these NFL players that are. Who was the guy in Seattle, the lineman who choked a woman until she was unconscious and laid guns out on the bed? Greg Hardy, right? Greg Hardy's different than Jason Kidd.
Yes.
There's nuance in life.
There's different levels to everything. And listen,
one guy can be forgiven, one guy can't.
Yes. Yeah. And first of all, I guess we have to say this again because some guy has some comprehension issues here. And I'm not going to give you too much attention because you're just like a trolling little bitch. Like I would, like if you came up to me in a bar and said that, I would bitch slap you right out there.
No one said it was okay, Ted.
It's the worst.
I'm just saying it shouldn't ruin his life permanently.
And especially, listen, if they continued that behavior and this was a pattern that continued on, I would agree. Like, listen, this guy can't figure it out. But as far as I can tell, and I went ahead and looked, as we knew we were going to talk about this a little bit, I went and looked through it and just to see, hey, has there been any other thing with Jason Kidd since that happened? Not a single damn thing. So guess what? When you make a mistake and you fix it and we're 20 years down the road, I mean,
that's personal growth, is it not?
I mean,
not all make mistakes.
I thought when the actual epitome, the definition of saying I'm sorry means I'm sorry and I'll never do it again. And it appears that's what Jason Kidd did. So I give a man credit for that. And you're not allowed. Where are we going to be if we judge everyone by their worst moment in their life for the rest of their life?
Correct. Because I want everyone out here, Ted Allen, think about the worst moment of your life. The thing that you did, and we've all got it, that you wish you could take back.
So many.
I'm not woke. No, I'm not. I'm realistic is what I am.
Realistic. Yeah,
I'm realistic. We're not perfect beings. We fuck up. We do things that are wrong. We try to learn from it and be better.
Exactly. That you're exactly right. And I was actually able to find a ton of things where Jason Kidd went on speaking tours, apologized, was trying to teach people how it was the wrong thing to do. So no, it's wrong. I think you are worse if you're going to be the one judging. Remember, we say this when you have that one. Here you go, Ted Allen. Try this exercise. Point that one finger at us, but you might want to pay attention to those three ones pointing right back at you because I promise you, I can already tell.
Well, Ted Allen's a perfect human being. He's never received a speeding ticket.
Yes. And we're giving him way too
you're probably a fucking serial killer, man. Those are the people that are serial killers.
Oh, I bet you there's kitty porn on his computer. I'll tell you that right now. He has the name for it, too. Like, get the fuck out of here.
So
like,
two things that are worth talking about here. First is this guy says forehand equals love, backhand equals discipline. Second, and this is the more valid point, is David Barnett says, why hire Kidd? He's been a bad coach just from a basketball standpoint. Now, I don't think Jason Kidd did an awful job in Milwaukee. Giannis was still a very young, raw, talented player. And if you remember, when they fired Jason Kidd, Giannis was not a fan of it. Giannis was a very big fan of Jason Kidd.
Right.
I don't know that it's necessarily fair to say he's been awful. He was all right in was it Jersey or Brooklyn? I
Yeah,
forget
New
which one
Jersey. It was New Jersey.
With the Nets. He was all right. And I think he could have been better with the Bucks if he had more time because of how Giannis was. But I think there is a belief that because of the kind of player that Jason Kidd was, that he can be a talented head coach, especially in a place like Dallas where he played with an owner he's got a good relationship with. I think that's a good spot for him, and a point guard that he can really help bring along.
Yeah, I completely agree. And he's got the pedigree in that town. He can. Things seem a little bit weird in Dallas, right? They get rid of Donnie Nelson. Mark Cuban sort of goes on and off the rails. You heard the stuff behind the scenes with the employees, stuff like that. And by the way, I want to thank you, Ted, for reporting us. That's exactly what we want. I want you uncomfortable. I want you nervous. I want you mad. You're doing everything.
You're
that
still watching.
You're still
That's all
watching.
I want you to do,
Again,
Ted.
trust and believe, Ted Allen. You will never put anything out that I will ever watch. So thank you very much for that. We'll keep on winning. You keep on trolling, and we'll move our separate ways. Congratulations on that. But so I will say, you're right. He was okay with the Nets. He was okay in New Jersey, but I do think there's a real pedigree for Jason Kidd here. And again, this is what the NBA does. They just it's very rare that you get these sort of like new names that pop up like, hey, this guy was really talented in Division II. We brought him up, this, that, and the third. They sort of regurgitate, right, coaching candidates. And that's what, if you're going to get one who's in there for the future, get a Hall of Fame point guard who can help your all-world point guard in Luka Doncic. Get a guy who has some pedigree with the town and has a reputation with the town and in the NBA.
Yep.
Get a guy who's coached in the playoffs. I don't think he just coached. He was an assistant coach for the Lakers this year, and by all accounts did a really, really solid job. So I think both hires are fine. I'm not going to sit here. If I judge myself on shit I did 20 years ago, I should probably be on Guantanamo Bay or something like that.
By the way, how much easier is Frank Vogel breathing now that Jason Kidd's out of town?
Yes, exactly, because he was so worried about him taking his job.
I mean, Jason Kidd was a finalist for that job.
Yes, and he should have had the job. To be completely honest, Frank Vogel's not a very good coach either, and his game plans are pretty bad, and he's just sort of relying on LeBron. But that's what it is.
Nobody said putting your hands on a woman is okay.
We said it repeatedly that it's not okay and you shouldn't do it, but you have a comprehension problem. This guy,
He's an idiot.
He's one of those guys I hope I run into one of these days in like a Vegas casino and I can just put his head right in the trash can and walk away.
Somebody in here, David Barnett, asked, I think it's a good question. Should Mark Jackson get another job? I'll say this about Mark Jackson, and Kyle, I don't know how you feel about this. I think Mark Jackson did a decent job in Golden State. It was a terrible team when he took it over. He brought them to the precipice of the success they had. My problem with Mark Jackson is some of the stories that came out of Golden State had him being almost like a preacher instead of a coach.
Right.
I don't know whether that's true or not. I think objectively, Mark Jackson probably should get another shot. But there's also, don't you think there's probably a reason why he hasn't gotten one?
It's interesting, right? So the year after he gets fired, all of a sudden they just take off, right? They just take off. And
which happens, right? It happens sometimes.
It does. And you try to, sometimes, and I think NBA franchises do this a lot. That's why you see some of these hires that my family's out here is not very supportive. I have lots of family over. They're standing outside the window making my dog bark. I'm about to tell my mother to get the hell out of here. I'm busy working and put my dog inside.
Come on, Mom.
Dog's inside.
Okay, my mom says we're no fun, but we are fun. Get the hell out of here now. Love you.
Do they want to hear a story about you?
No one wants to. Oh,
yes.
No, BlackJack says yeah. Okay, come on, Mom.
Come on.
Come on. No.
Story time.
Come on.
Story time.
The whole audience says yes. Get in here.
It would be a bad story.
Okay, come tell the bad story. Yes, come on in.
What story do you want?
Get behind the camera. Come here.
Should I tell him the Ben Gay on the ball story?
Go ahead. Tell the Ben Gay on the ball story. Here we go.
All right.
Come on over.
So
here's my mother.
Hi guys. I'm Kyle's mom. So here's a good story about Kyle. Okay. So when he was about 12 years old, he figured out that his body temperature and the hangingness of his ball sack kind of went hand in hand. So if he was warm,
it's a cold winter town, by the way. I should throw that in.
Kyle is so miserable right now.
So one night we're sitting around playing video games and he's feeling a little cold. So he decides to go test out his theory with Ben Gay. And of course, being the family that we are, we're all for it. We're like, yeah, go rub some Ben Gay on your scrotum. We don't really care.
Mhm.
Let's see what happens.
This show's the best
So
thing I've ever
he goes
done.
into the bathroom, comes
Can't
back.
believe this is happening.
I
on
know,
camera
this is-
right now.
this is
Just
awesome.
Fucking finish your goddamn
He
story.
comes out. We're all waiting for him. Next thing you know, there's a little twitch, and then there's some bigger twitches. And then about
Ooh.
5 minutes later, he is running to the bathroom or the kitchen sink. I think it was.
It was kitchen sink.
Hands
butt
down
naked.
at his knees, splashing hot water in his crotch,
Cold water,
trying,
obviously. Cold
or yeah,
water.
cold water. Sorry, trying to help himself out. So lesson learned, right? Lesson
That's actually
learned.
not the worst story. I thought she was going to tell a far worse story, so that's good.
There are worse stories, but that one's a pretty good story, right?
That's a fantastic story.
Fantastic story.
He never rubbed Ben Gay on his nutsack again, just so you know. Don't try
That you
this.
know of.
Don't try this at home, kids. Don't try this at home. Perfect example of why you should.
All right, get the hell out of here. Love you.
Wow, that just made this entire episode.
I don't know what the hell just
And
happened.
by the way, let's just take this as an opportunity. If you are having any ball issues, visit manscape.com.
There you go.
Use the promo code 2idiots, TWOIDIOTS. One word, 20% off your entire order, free shipping. You can get a trimmer with a flashlight, ball toner, ball deodorant, ball wipes, anything for your balls. Manscape.com, promo code 2idiots for 20% off and free shipping. You can't beat it.
Boom, I love that. And by the way, Ted, one more comment. Well, first of all, I'm so glad my wife left me high and dry, but you say one more thing, I'll come fuck your wife, and I promise you, I'm way more of a man than you are. You will never get her back. So just tread lightly, Ted Allen. Tread lightly, because I'm a petty man. I am a petty god. I'm a famous guy. I'm a successful guy, and I'm a handsome guy. I will fuck your wife, and she'll never think about you again. So you better watch your mouth.
Hold
son.
on, Kyle, hold on.
Sorry,
You're
was that
wrong.
too far?
I
Was
have
that
to
too
tell
far?
you when you're wrong. There's
Yes.
no way this guy's got a wife.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
You're gonna fuck his blow up doll?
Yeah,
You're gonna fuck his blow up doll?
I will
His
tear that shit
fleshlight?
apart.
You know he's got the Lisa Ann fleshlight.
He totally does have the Lisa. I'm sorry. I got to breathe after that one. That is absolutely.
This guy doesn't have a wife. He
Yeah,
might have a
does.
girl in a basement somewhere.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I could maybe should I go be a stepdad? Should I show up at Christmas and be a stepdad?
Yes.
If you really piss me off, I could do that too. We're having some fun with you, Ted, out there. We actually kind of like the trolling now. It's giving us some content, right? It's kind of funny.
It's interaction, Ted.
That's it.
Credit
We
to
like
you,
it.
Ted.
And by the way, we appreciate all the great comments. Abel, Aqua, John, of Oaklawn. You guys deserve way more exposure than that troll, but we love you guys, and we appreciate you being in here. This show's a goddamn lot of fun. I can't believe my mom was on camera here. That's probably your first time ever on camera.
I mean, Aqua just nailed it on the head.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Just read it, Ted. Read it, Ted. Every time you comment, I make a penny. Actually, I make way more than that.
More than a penny, brother.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, so let's get into the Clippers and Suns because you wanted to dive into this.
I do.
The Suns have this thing in the stranglehold. It's 3-1 now. Chris Paul's back in rhythm. Him and Booker looked better in the last game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Phoenix is going to win this thing here. I don't care whether Kawhi Leonard comes back or not. And it doesn't look like he's coming back in Game 5.
Right.
So, I mean, what tell me, air your grievances about the commentary, the Clippers, the whole thing.
Yes, exactly. So I do want to talk. So I love the Suns. We took the Suns. We expected the Suns to win. I obviously don't trust the Clippers. I hate how they approach their organization. I hate how the superstars approach the game. I hate, and our boy Chris, our SBR college football analyst and one of my dear friends, love that. That's absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Thanks for being here, Chris. But at the end of that game, one thing really, really bothered me about that game. Monty Williams did a horrible, horrible, horrible job coaching that Suns team at the end of that game. And Jeff Van Gundy's sitting there going, well, when you look at it, the Suns are just executing better. They were not executing better until Devin Booker fouled out. They were trying to call ISO play after ISO play after ISO play for Devin Booker. And that was the wrong thing to do. It was a bad matchup. When they ran the high pick and roll with Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton, they got that switch to Zubats on Chris Paul. DeAndre Ayton, first of all, you saw the alley-oop, which is a huge play in that game. You saw good things happen. Chris Paul can get any shot he wanted off of Zubats in that high pick and roll on the switch. And if he didn't, DeAndre Ayton is a foot taller than everyone else on the floor. He was standing there with Reggie Jackson and Nick Batum looking like babies around him.
That's right.
And then they went away from that, and they actually had the gall to run the pick and roll with Devin Booker and Jay Crowder. That's the wrong thing to do. Every time Phoenix ran the high pick and roll with Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton and forced that switch to Zubats to Paul, good things happen. They did not do it enough. I don't know why in the fuck Monty Williams continued to call those ISO plays to Devin Booker. The Suns were lucky they won that game, and I disagree. I was so annoyed with Jeff Van Gundy telling everyone, oh, the Clippers are executing properly. No, what they should have said, if they really understood the game, if they're watching the game we're all watching, every time they ran the high pick and roll, good things happen on offense. Every time they didn't, it was a struggle to score a point. They were lucky they won that game. I was really, really, really disappointed in the execution by Phoenix. I was disappointed in the coaching by Phoenix. I'm glad they won because obviously we took them and we're sick. I hate the Clippers. I can't stand the Clippers. But overall, if Phoenix actually wants to make some waves in the finals and they actually want to close this out in 5, get some rest, get their players healthy, especially Devin Booker with that, they definitely need it. They're going to have to call better plays and they're going to have to execute better because the bread and butter was there all night long. Every time they were on the court, every time they came past half court, it should have been high pick and roll with Chris Paul and Ayton, and that's not what they did. I counted it. They only did it 2 out of 10 plays in a row, and I was screaming at the fucking television because it was just bad coaching, in my opinion. What do you think?
I mean, I think it was bad coaching. I think that what you touched on there is the most important thing, that Phoenix needs to close this out in 5, because I'm going to tell you right now, Milwaukee's closing this out in 5. Milwaukee's not losing another game. This was the Hawks' shot to win another game in this series. They blew their load, and it didn't matter. Milwaukee still weathered the storm. I think Milwaukee wins by double digits in game 4, and they go home in game 5 and end this. So Phoenix needs the rest, right? Like Chris Paul was a lot of rhythm. Booker's got the busted nose. They could use the time off here.
Absolutely.
This is an important game for them because, and the other thing is, this whole Kawhi Leonard thing is up in the air. Like, he's not going to play in the next game, but what if he comes back in the one after that? Like, don't make this a thing. Push this. Get it over with and go to the finals and wait for Milwaukee to get there. John De Silva says whoever wins the East will beat the Suns. I disagree. I think Phoenix is – I would take Phoenix over Milwaukee.
I think it's real close. And Milwaukee –
I think it's a long series, but I would take Phoenix.
Because we can just go position by position, really.
And that's the thing, right? Like, start at the point guard. You're going to take Chris Paul over Drew Holiday. At the 2, you're certainly going to take Devin Booker, right?
Yeah.
Now,
sort. I like Middleton's toughness and defense.
I do too, but
I think Booker's kind of a bitch. But I love his game. I love his shooting ability, but he's not tough. He's not one of those guys you can rely on. But
I think it's a long series, and I think it's a good series because what I think the thing is that people forget about Phoenix is that Phoenix likes to play hard defense. They were a very good defensive team, and Milwaukee has shown in these playoffs. If you go back and look at the Nets series, there were a couple of those games that were 90s type games where you had games in the 80s, right? Phoenix will accommodate you in those games. You're going to have a long 6-7 game series. I think it'll be fun. I would take the Suns just because I think that Brook Lopez can't match up down low with DeAndre Ayton. I mean, he has no interest in doing it.
And it's actually really bad for Milwaukee because DeAndre Ayton is so dominant around the rim, and Brook Lopez loves to dance around that 3-point line. DeAndre Ayton will smash them in that series if he stays.
Agreed.
I think it's a really, really.
I also
really,
think
really
they're deeper. I think the Phoenix is deeper. I like campaign off the bench. I like Cam Johnson. I think they're a deeper team. Jay Crowder is going to be a problem there.
Saric is a solid player, even though he kind of looks like a goof lately. He looked like a goof. And what about the Clippers last night, too? Dario Saric gets inbounded the ball. All you need him to do is miss one free throw and you're in this game. And they don't even foul Dario Saric.
No.
That's a lack of coaching by Ty Lue. And one of the things I was talking about with my buddy, and I played baseball all the way up until right before college, right? I was a shortstop. My job was to notify. So if it was 1 out, runners on first and third, said, hey, if it's a double play ball, hit the double play ball. If not, check home, go 1. You set your players up. That's what you do when you're the main player on a team. Why wasn't Paul George telling DeMarcus Cousins, hey, or a coach, any player, Patrick Beverly, any veteran on the court saying, hey, you have to hit the rim on a purposely missed free throw, otherwise they just get the ball. They're so like, that's Paul George's job. You want to be playoff P, you want to be the man, you want to be LeBron, you want to be all these guys, and yet your teammate who just came in cold, hadn't played in forever, you don't have him ready to go. No one's telling him, hey, if you're going to miss this on purpose, which is our plan, make sure it hits the rim. The dude threw it 800 miles an hour off the backboard like he had no idea what the rule is. We already know Boogie Cousins is not the highest IQ player in the league. The guy's a wild card, and no one's ever going to say he's the Peyton Manning of the NBA, okay? You need to coach your players up, and you need to make sure they know what's going on. Huge, epic fail by the Clippers on that, because they should have won that game. I'm sorry, they should have won the game.
It is. And Chris is right here. Jay Crowder is one of those guys that you go back to his time in Boston, his time in Miami. This is a guy that come playoff time is one of those guys you need, right? Like he's one of those guys. I think Phoenix has more of those guys than Milwaukee does. It'll be a great series. I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be very good. By the way, Ted Allen's still here.
I love it. I thought he was going to leave 5 times ago. He's like the gift that he's like herpes. It's like, God damn it, you keep showing up, and I'm just about to hook up with this hot girl, and now I have to wear a condom, which it's not 1998 anymore, which that's just fucking suck.
That's right. Kyle's about to have a 3-way with some girls just out of jail, and Ted Allen showing up.
Yeah, I mean, get the hell out of here. Oh, good Lord. Trying to kill my vibe. It'll be fine.
So yeah, I mean, I think we're on the same page here. It's Phoenix and Milwaukee. We'll see how it goes over the next few games. These teams need to shut it down, though. I mean, the Clippers need to go away, and so do the Hawks. And let's just get on with this. It may not be the most sexy finals, but I think it'll be good finals.
It'll be fun. They match up pretty good. They match up pretty good. And one team's strength is the other team's weakness. So it's going to be who's better at imposing their will. And it's been a while since we've had this in an NBA Finals, right? Where we had 2 teams who have not won a title in a long – Phoenix has never won a title. Milwaukee, I don't think they did. Maybe they did, in the 70s or something?
Yeah, they did with Kareem.
Oh, yes, that's correct, with Kareem. So it was like 70-something. But my God, so it's different and it's exciting. It's probably not going to be a huge ratings thing. Obviously, it's not LeBron versus KD, which is exactly what the NBA wanted. But it'll be interesting. I'm going to be honest. I'll be rooting for the Suns.
Me too.
I'll be rooting for him.
I want Chris Paul to win one.
Yeah, I think he deserves to win one. And he's kind of a guy that people pick on, like, okay, he's never made it to a finals. Is he really a winner?
Yes.
But we sort of touched on this last week. It has not been Chris Paul's fault. Chris Paul is an absolute bulldog and comes up clutch in big moments. Didn't play great last night, missed a couple of open shots. But I think the coaching, when they called timeout, I'm like, the coach Monty Williams has got to be saying high pick and roll, Paul and Ayton all game long.
That's it.
If they do that all game long, they win by 20. I'm telling you, they have no answer for it. Zubac switch every time. The Clippers switch every time on that high pick and roll. Now you've got DeAndre Ayton just dunking over Reggie Jackson or Nick Batum all day long, or Chris Paul getting a wide open jump shot.
Nick Batum is playing meaningful playoff minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Think about that. Just for 1 second. And Rondo didn't do much. What a bad trade by that front office getting rid of Lou Williams. He could have really helped this team right now. Yeah, it was awful.
Kyle, interesting question here from my guy Chase. He wants to know, how long were you pen pals to pull off the parole pals time?
So it's actually interesting. I'll tell you the story. So before she went to jail, she got a DUI and she got in an accident and someone got hurt, not dead. She actually got more hurt than the other person. But she was a cashier at the little gas station down the street, and she was hot. And I used to hit on her all the time. So I sent her a message on Facebook, said, hey, you want to hang out sometime? Then she got busted, went to jail, remembered when she got out, hit me up. I picked her up. She was hot, and then she said she had a friend who was interested in hanging out as well. She follows all the rules. She doesn't text 2 days in a row. If I tell her I'm busy, she doesn't bug me. She never makes me feel guilty. She plays Mario Party if I want to, and if I wake her up in the middle of the night, she's down to do whatever I want. So she checks all the boxes, and there's no commitment. That's how it's done.
Any money in the commissary? little bit.
Of Oaklawn, that's how it's done. That's someone I would be friends with. Can you imagine being stuck hanging out with Ted Allen for a night? Oh my God.
I mean, you're only doing that if it's against your will.
I'm rewatching Friends. He's like Ross. Ted Allen's the guy putting on Nickelback as he drives to the bar trying to pick up chicks in his purple suit.
I mean, I think of him more as Buffalo Bob, but that's fine.
Oh yeah, he might be trying to wear our skin too. Because for a guy who says he was out of here an hour ago, he sure seems obsessed with
Wait
our
till
show.
she finds out you're an out. I'm pretty sure for a girl who got popped for a DUI, that's not a deal breaker.
It's not a big deal. It's fine. I got many other qualities. It's actually a plus for her. She's like, oh yeah, you can drink and not throw up. Well, yeah, and if I do throw up, I'll be back in a minute. Just give me a second. It'll be fine. So I don't. I'm not exactly sure. And if a coach would laugh if I said to run the high pick and roll, then they don't know what they're doing because we can all watch the game. I know exactly what works, and that's why we do this for a living, and that's why every comment
it's not
you say.
hard. There's nobody left in these playoffs that can stop DeAndre Ayton. Like when he's doing what he's doing.
Hey, can we talk a little bit about the Greg Oden factor of DeAndre Ayton? That dude looks like he's 47 years old. It is crazy when I see DeAndre Ayton's face. It absolutely blows my mind. We might have a little freezing situation with BlackJack. I'm not 100% sure. So I'll keep going on about this. But if you remember back when Greg Oden was drafted, dude was 19, looked 35. DeAndre Ayton's a very young guy, and he looks so old, right? Did he come from Cuba? Is this like a fake birth certificate thing? What's
I think
happening?
he's legit. I just think he's got that look to him. I don't know. But he does look old. That's true.
And he's a man amongst boys. When you can see it when they switch, you're like, holy crap.
Fucking Chase. Greg Oden told Bill Russell's young ass to get off his lawn.
He did. I'm telling you.
Chase,
and I feel so many Greg Oden, but much better, obviously. He's a much better NBA player. And the Suns, by the way, got a lot of grief for taking the center number one overall. Mm-hmm. I think he's paying dividends because he's a fantastic 100%. Number 3 piece on a team. You've got Paul Booker. You add Ayton. I love DeAndre Ayton's game, and I love how aggressive he is on the offensive
People these days are so impatient with NBA players when the top guys that come into the league are often 19 years old, right? You look at Julius Randle. He was the same way. He came in as a top 5 pick. Brandon Ingram came in as a top 5 pick. People wash their hands of these guys after 2 or 3 years, and they become stars. It takes a little time, man. You're talking about 19-year-old kids. They got to grow into their bodies a little bit. I mean, give it some time. Have some patience.
Mm-hmm. Completely agree. I couldn't agree more. And I like that. It is interesting to think about the Suns and Milwaukee. It's actually a fascinating matchup against two teams not so well coached. Coach Budenholzer is a god-awful coach.
I like Monty Williams. I mean, maybe that's because I'm sorry. I feel bad his wife died.
Well, definitely. Well, I actually am happy for him, but that's a whole nother show. I mean, I don't know, but I'm biased. Of course, I've not had great luck with marriages, so I'm actually like, hey, man, now you got some free time, you got some money, but of course we can't joke about that too. Actually, yes, we can, because again, if you ever, I've already said this before, if you end the sentence, there's nothing funny about blank, and there's anything you can put in there, you're not going to be my friend, because I can make a joke about anything. And it's probably a bad idea to test me on that. I might get kicked off YouTube forever.
I kind of want to throw it at you, but I don't want to.
Go ahead. Let's rock and roll. I can find a funny joke and a way to make something funny about.
Give me a Hitler joke.
Wow. Okay. Oh, Jesus. The one I'm going to say is so.
Do it.
It's just so bad. Let's just put it this way. I'm pretty sure that Hitler was a shower, not a grower. It didn't get to grow enough. And my son, sort of, when I look at my son and I look at young pictures of Hitler, I'm like, holy shit, my son looks like Hitler. And I don't know whether to be like, dude, you might be the most famous person in the world, or you might be the worst person in the world.
The phrase is infamous.
Infamous. Yes. Very, very, very infamous. It feels risky, but hey, here's what I'll say for you religious people. And again, this is not for the faint of heart. It's not Hitler's fault. If you read the Bible and you believe in God and all that bullshit, God creates everyone in his own image, and he knows every decision everyone's gonna make.
That's always the interesting
So if
dichotomy.
God knew Hitler was going to kill 6 million Jewish people during World War II, isn't that really God's fault, not Hitler's? Because you didn't have to make him. And if you were going to make him to do that, couldn't you just tweak a wire real quick? Couldn't you just connect something over here? Like, hey, how about instead of being the biggest monster of the 20th century, maybe of all time, depending on where you rank Manson and the rest of those guys, isn't it God's fault, not Hitler's?
Maybe just make the trains run on time and just stick with that.
Yeah, let's put the blame on God and not so much on Hitler. He was just doing what God made him to do.
Fair enough.
I'm in so much trouble for that.
Let's move on.
Let's move on. I'm probably fired from everything. Let's
move on to the NHL because we've got some fucking bizarre shit happening in the NHL. Stanley Cup final. The Tampa Bay Lightning, not a shock. Reigning, defending Stanley Cup champions back for a second round. But the fact that the Montreal Canadiens are here. I tweeted out when they clinched this, Kyle, that I think they are one of the least likely finalists in any North American sport over the last 20 years.
Agreed.
I don't know how they're here. In a normal NHL season, they wouldn't have made the playoffs. They would not have been a playoff team. Only under this unique, format do they make the playoffs. They beat it. And for the people who are saying they've had like a nothing road, that's bullshit. They beat a very talented Toronto team after being down 3-1. They swept a Winnipeg team that swept Edmonton. And then they beat a Vegas team, which had the most points in the NHL in the regular season. And now they're here against Tampa. And I'll tell you this, I have an axe to grind against the Canadiens because no team in the last decade has cost me more money than the Montreal Canadiens have this playoff. They've won 12 games so far. I've bet against them in 11 of them.
Oh, shit.
So they have cost me an enormous amount of money. Everything in my body tells me Tampa wins this in 5.
Right.
But Montreal just keeps pulling these fucking rabbits out of their hat. What happens here?
Well, this one, we mentioned how I do not like teams from Milwaukee. I also do not like teams from Tampa Bay. First of all, it starts with the Rays with that bullshit, throwing the, relievers for 9 innings and all that crap, which is just it's just so weak. It's so weak. And so for me, I'm not a huge hockey guy. Usually when I bet hockey picks, this is no lie, I just go read your article for the hockey thing. Like, okay, I'm going to bet this because I'm going to throw it in a parlay.
Hopefully not in the playoffs.
Well, it's worked out actually pretty well for me many a times. That's why I keep going back.
Brother, I was 60% over the regular season betting every day, and I can't win a fucking game in the playoffs because of these Canadiens.
It's tough. It's tough. So I look at this from just a perspective of Tampa Bay has so much talent. And it's so unfair that Kucherov got to just like join the team right before the playoffs and everything else. But I'm like, wait, I'm supposed to take a team from Florida over a team from Canada in hockey?
They're well built.
My grandpa would slap the shit out of me. So I'm sort of inclined here, just slightly, to take some of this plus money on the Canadiens. I know, but hockey is the most unique sport of all of them. You can have the best team. You can have home field advantage. Hell, you can be up 3-0 in hockey and you lose the series.
It doesn't matter.
Lose the series. It's a crazy sport. I will say this till the end of time. We're talking about a sport where they skate around on swords, where they how has there never been someone's throat slashed by a roller?
Interesting story about that. It almost happened. It happened in a game in the 80s with the Buffalo Sabres. Their goaltender, this is back before they wore as much gear as they did today. It's when he was wearing like the Jason mask from Friday the 13th.
Right.
Their goaltender, Clint Malarchuk, a player was going in for a shot and he got tripped and the skate literally slashed him in the throat, slashed his jugular. And the medic for the Sabres team, John DeSilva's got it, Clint Malarchuk.
Yeah.
The medic for the Sabres team was a medic in Vietnam. Literally, if you haven't seen the video, it's on YouTube. It's a fucking wild video because for those of you who may not know this, blood bounces on ice. It bounces. It's a weird thing to see. So when Clint Malarchuk takes the skate, the blood just starts flowing out of him. The medic comes on, reaches into his neck, and pinches off the artery with his hand and saves Clint Malarchuk's life. And after that is when goalies had to start wearing neck pieces and things like that, because it literally almost happened. I mean, a guy was very nearly dead on the ice. But the thing about hockey, and you talked about it, when you watch it, it's played so fluidly that we forget that they're doing this on a fucking sheet of ice. Like
with swords on their feet.
They are running around like NBA players run, more than NBA players run around, if we're being honest, because NBA players half the time are just walking the ball up court.
Yeah.
They are doing this on a sheet of ice. So, yeah, there's a high degree of variance involved. Everything in my body tells me Tampa is the more talented team.
100%.
They've won a Stanley Cup. They're a more veteran team. Montreal's a lot younger. The one thing that fucking kills me with the Canadiens is that dude in the net, Carey Price.
Yeah.
He has been probably the best goaltender for the last 15 years in the NHL consistently. Mm-hmm. He's been on bad teams, so nobody's paid a ton of attention to him. And now he's got a chance at a Stanley Cup. Hockey is the only sport where one guy can win or lose you a game by himself.
Yeah.
By himself. If Carey Price is just a fucking wall, I don't know. I mean, I love the NHL playoffs. It's my favorite thing in sports.
Sure.
I think hockey playoffs are the greatest thing there are.
Best bar sport by far. If you're in a bar watching a hockey playoff game, you're having a fucking party.
I am dreading the series because I don't know what to do. Everything in my head tells me Tampa, but everything I've seen over the last month tells me that Montreal is just one of these fucking teams of destiny, right?
Like they're going to be tougher.
No
it's a Canadian
team. No Canadian team has won a Stanley Cup since 1993, which was the Montreal Canadiens. And it just means so much to them.
Right.
Like it matters so much more to them. And I live in Sarasota. It's not a suburb of Tampa, but it's in kind of the metro region of Tampa. And the Tampa Bay Lightning, and I'll say this because I've lived all over the state of Florida, are the most well-supported pro sports team in this state by far.
Yeah.
The Miami Heat, nobody gave a shit. I was there when LeBron was there. The stadium was 3/4 full. The Dolphins, no one cares about. The Jaguars, no one cares about. The Bucks, nobody gave a shit about until Tom Brady came here. The Lightning have been a team that people have supported the Lightning because they've been pretty good most of their existence. You go back to Vincent Lecavalier, Martin St. Louis. They've been good. But, man, this Canadian team just keeps fucking me in the ass.
Hey, and dicks fuck pussies, but they also fuck assholes. We heard it in Team America.
They do.
And I got to tell you, when it comes to hockey for me, and I will never pretend to be a hockey aficionado because I am certainly not. I'm the furthest thing from that. But when it comes to me, I'm like, man, this just seems like a team, a little bit of destiny. I think this is going to be a lot grindier than people think. I know I saw some comments, Tampa Bay sweeps. On paper, they should. Absolutely.
Yes. But on paper, Toronto should have. Winnipeg should have beaten them. And
Florida
Vegas sure as fuck should have swept them.
That's damn right. That's damn right. And it's just not happening. So sometimes it kind of reminds me of that 04 Pistons team that beat the Lakers.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Just no real superstar, but they were just tougher and more sound in different areas. I don't think these pretty boys from Tampa Bay are ready for what Montreal is going to throw. And look, we talked about good betting habits last week. Doesn't always pay off, but it's good habits. When I look at that number on the series, was it plus 285 last time I looked at it, something like that for Montreal. I'm much more inclined to put a little sprinkle on that and trust those. I used to think the only thing that Canada gave us was Bryan Adams and Celine Dion, but I forgot about hockey. Celine. Well, I love Celine Dion. I will listen to that. The way that and she is absolutely beautiful. And I know she likes to marry older men, So,
did I tell you, first of all, you're younger than she is.
I know, but I'm older now.
I was in a car ride across Canada with a 23-year-old guy who claimed and I literally almost pulled the car over and threw him out, who claimed that Justin Bieber was a more impactful artist than Celine Dion.
That's the most.
He said all you have to do is ask a Canadian. Ask a Canadian.
Yeah, and why don't you go look at the box office? Titanic's one of the top 5 highest grossing movies.
She's worth almost $1 billion.
Yeah, Celine
and she's
Dion.
The voice of a fucking angel.
Yes, exactly. She had Justin. First of all, I'm not a Bieber hater. That poor kid got thrown to the heat, but Celine Dion is she's the fucking. It's like Whitney Houston, Celine Dion, right? Like
it's Celine Dion.
Yeah. Celine, beautiful voice, beautiful woman. That song from Titanic is the most iconic song. Everyone knows that song. I can play that song for my. There we go. Yeah, and I could just jam to this, and I should apologize.
I love it.
I just love it. I listen to Celine Dion all the time. It's one of my. Come on.
You can DMCA me for this. I don't give a shit. I'll take it.
Yeah. I mean, the movie made like $10 billion. Justin Bieber, get the hell out of here with that crap.
I want to hear it.
That guy loses his man card and he loses his just common sense card right off the top. Off the top. Is it weird that I still think I'm going to be fired for everything because I said it's God's fault, not Hitler's?
No, I mean, I think that's fair. If you believe, listen, if you're a religious person, I think you have one of two ways to go. Either you believe that God is in control of everything, in which case you might as well just say fuck it and do whatever because it's God's plan.
That's right.
Or you believe in free will.
That's right.
So, I mean, in that case, then, it's fine. It is what it is. We're all responsible for ourselves. But no, I don't think you said anything inappropriate.
Okay, good. Because I do think it was wrong, by the way. None of that should have happened.
The Holocaust was real and it was wrong.
It was real and so awful. The worst thing that could ever happen. I'm not condoning that in any way, shape, or form. But it is God's fault, not Hitler's. My mother-in-law, who's inside, she's not going to like what I said. She might be watching it. I might be.
You're going to have all sorts of problems when you go inside.
So much trouble, but it's worth it. It's worth it. For the content.
Let's switch to a more lighthearted topic. Major League Baseball is now checking pitchers for foreign substances.
Yeah.
And we've had several guys go really crazy over the last week. Sergio Romo basically whipped his dick out.
Yes, he did.
In front of an umpire.
Not bad, too, by the way. Nice bulge, Sergio Romo.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Credit to him.
Yeah.
Max Scherzer kind of did the same thing and almost got into a fight with Joe Girardi in the process.
I'm taking Girardi in that fight, by the way.
I mean, what the fuck is Major League? Is there a sport less in touch with what's happening than Major League Baseball?
Nope. No, there is not. And I cover Major League Baseball every single day. And they had it right during the pandemic, right? They had it right. No pitchers batting, universal DH. And then they regress and they go, no, we're going to go back to pitchers batting in the National League and not in the American League, which is just the dumbest shit I've ever heard. I mean, it's just the stupidest thing. And so they're going, oh, shit, runs are down. It's the lowest run rate since, 1953, some crazy shit like that. The sport is boring to watch. Nobody gives a damn about what's happening. So let's throw them a bone. We no longer want pitchers putting sticky shit on their hands. And now the pitchers are freaking out. And I see a lot of fans mad, like these managers, like you're ruining the game by inspecting the pitcher. If I know I'm getting in my opponent's head, I'm going to do it, plain and simple. And if I know that they can't handle it, I'm going to do it. Just how it is. Mental warfare is 90% of pro sports. That's why, how many times have we said in the NBA, oh, team's down 0-2, they're going to win at home because they're motivated, they're highly amped up, they're going to have a ton of energy. Yeah. That's the exact – you always use whatever – Michael Jordan is the greatest of all time because he would find the dumbest thing to be pissed off about and use it to his advantage. That's how you win. The mind games are so important in sports and why people want to disregard that and act like these teams and these managers are doing the wrong thing by trying to get into these players' heads. If I was a team owner – and my manager didn't do everything it took to win every single game, you're fucking out on the street. You're fired. Get me the grimiest, dirtiest, sleaziest. If you're a Patriots, I hate the New England Patriots. But if you're a Patriots fan, you know Bill Belichick will do everything he can to cheat to win. That's why you love him. That's why when you go to bet on Sundays, you're like, you know what? I'm a little nervous betting against the Patriots, even though they have Cam Newton at quarterback, the worst passer that you've ever seen. I'm nervous because I know Bill Belichick has scraped the earth to find every way to skirt the rules and win this game. That's what I want. It's about wins and losses, folks. This is not about your feelings. This is not about appeasing your team. This is not about saying or doing the thing that makes you feel happy on the inside. This is about winning money and getting contracts. And if you can't accept it, then you're following the wrong thing and you're thinking the wrong way.
There's a few things here to talk about. Chase says here pitchers should hit for themselves. And I don't have a problem with that. My problem is twofold. First, the fact that we have different rules in different leagues. Like, it's one fucking sport, right? And there's no reason we talk about Ben Simmons and Giannis with his struggles. Starting pitchers pitch once every 5 days. You are a supremely talented athlete. Why can't you get in a fucking cage and at least hit 200? Why are you this unable to hit? It's inexcusable to me. Like, why can't you do it? It's not that hard. I'm not saying I could do it, but a fucking professional athlete should be able to get in the cage a couple of times a week and hit at least 200. Mm-hmm. Should he not?
Mm. Well, I don't disagree. Well, I will say this. So Major League Baseball, first of all, baseball is a game based on failure. You're considered a great player if you have success 30% of the time.
Correct.
Which is, it's the only sport. Imagine, going, Tom Brady had a great game this week. He completed 10 of 30 passes for 30%. You'd be like, God, that's the worst thing I've ever watched. And he should probably be benched for whoever his backup is, Ryan Griffin or whoever the fuck. Yeah. So baseball is weird that way. You only hit a home run. Everyone cares about home runs now. Even the best hitters in baseball only hit a home run something like 8.5% of their at-bats. So it's 92% of the time, you're getting an outcome that you're not hoping for in baseball. My problem with the pitcher thing is we wouldn't ask how bad would you feel or how annoyed would you be if let's say you're a Seahawks fan and they're like, well, since you play in the NFC and not the AFC on this play, your kicker has to line up at wide receiver and DK Metcalf has to stand on the sideline. It's the dumbest fucking thing. And pitchers, when you're a pitcher, and they do hit all throughout. I mean, I pitched and everything else, and I still had to hit, and we thought of ourselves as competent hitters. But it's just such a drain on the game when you're like, okay, outside of, the Otanis and Huascar Inoa for Atlanta. Someone mentioned Jacob deGrom. Yeah, he's a fine hitter. There was that one guy for the Giants who was a great hitter as a pitcher as well. I can't remember his name right now. But, it's just, look, you're already putting us through 3.5 hours of bullshit and slow play and nonsense. Now we have to watch some pitcher who has no idea. Yeah, Tim Lincecum. There it is. Thank you. Of Oklahoma. I just think it's the dumbest thing. Baseball needs to get out of the way. I'm a proponent of trampolines on the warning track. Instead of sand and dirt, I want it to be a trampoline. So you got guys running out there trying to leap 15 feet in the field. I also like the idea, and I got this off the Le Batard show, which I love the Dan Le Batard show. It's one of my favorite shows of all time on the radio, where you can have the magic at bat. So in the 9th inning, my catcher's coming up, the 8th spot. Let's throw in Mike Trout real quick. That'll be fun. It'll make it more exciting. Fans don't want to watch 2-1 games in the 9th inning.
Baseball's against that. They're against anything that's exciting.
They'll never get out of that. It's going to we need all these baby boomers to die off. You know what I mean? We got to get rid of these old timies that are just so stuck in their records and their ways and their bullshit. Get them the hell out of here. Once that happens and we get some young minds who actually care about excitement and fun and common sense, for fuck's sake. I mean, why do we have 80-year-old guys standing behind the plate trying to follow? Okay, that might be the comment of the show. I love this guy. I love
Chase is the man. Chase, that's my guy, Chase.
You're my dude, bro. I absolutely love you. The world is your. When we go to Vegas, when we all go there, you go there.
Coming.
All of your drinks are going to be on me for that.
They've got enough Christmases.
Oh my God. It's such a great comment, but it's true. If we want this sport to be more exciting, all this old-timey, clinging to your ways, tradition bullshit has got to go. Baseball's going to find themselves where they're less watched than hockey in the United States.
They already are.
Just think about that. That's
the playoffs,
crazy.
The NHL playoffs are more watched than the MLB playoffs. And who the fuck even knows where to watch the NHL playoffs?
Exactly. I have no clue. No clue. Unless it pops up automatically on my screen, like on Hulu Live, like watch this game, I would have no clue where to fucking find them.
The other thing to talk about is someone mentioned Jacob deGrom. Do you realize that Jacob deGrom has driven in more runs this year than he has surrendered?
That's unbelievable.
Like, what we're watching from him is like generational greatness. The 4-year run this guy is on can hold up against anybody in Major League Baseball history. And the Mets suck so much that he won a Cy Young with a losing record.
God.
It's unbelievable what Jacob deGrom has done.
He's a better hitter than Francisco Lindor somehow. How the hell did that happen?
Yeah.
How the hell did that happen?
And Lindor's making 3 times the money he is.
Yes, they're wasting money. And then, if I'm not mistaken, in 1 week, don't they have to give Bobby Bonilla another $1 million?
Sure do, July 1st. Bobby Bonilla Day.
Yeah. It's unbelievable. The Mets are such a horribly ran organization, but they're probably going to win the NL East. And, it's too bad for me. That's another thing about baseball. I'm so sick of, okay, we have the American League MVP, then the National League MVP. Can you imagine if the NFL did that? Like, no, we don't have an MVP. We're going to do one per conference. But I would say if we're in like this vacuum, we're in this bubble, and we are saying who's the most valuable player in baseball, number one's Ohtani by a mile. I mean, you have a guy who's, can give you 7 shutout innings, hitting 25 home runs by the All-Star break. But if there's a close second, I hear Vladimir Guerrero Jr. That's just stupid. Let me know when he pitches 7 shutout innings. Just let me know when he does that. But it would be Jacob deGrom. What we're seeing from him is absolutely, and it feels like he's injured all the time too. So he's coming out, he's getting hurt.
He's always banged up, and he still does it
without it. And they're
again, unlike Kawhi Leonard, bitch. Jacob deGrom shows up and pitches.
Exactly, that's exactly right. So I got Ohtani as the most valuable player in all of baseball. I don't think it's even close. But Jacob deGrom, holy shit, what he is doing is absolutely phenomenal. I'm not a big Mets guy. I think they're poorly run, but I love me some Jacob deGrom. And has that ever happened in the history of baseball where a pitcher drives in more runs than he allows since Babe Ruth maybe back in like the 1910s?
It's like Bob Gibson.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
The guy's got an ERA of like a half a run.
It's incredible.
There's nobody in baseball close to this kid.
No, you can basically lock in a strikeout prop every
Brother, let me tell you
night.
something. Every time Jacob deGrom pitches, bet the first 5 under. I saw when they played the Padres, and it was him and Blake Snell. It was the first time I've ever seen this, Kyle. The first 5 innings over under was 2.5. First time I've ever seen 2.5. I've seen 3.5 nonstop. Never seen 2.5. I bet the under. You know what fucked me on the under? Jacob deGrom driving in 2 runs in the 5th inning.
It's unbelievable. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's absolutely insane. I love Jacob deGrom, and he's still doing it without the pine tar, which I will say again, if I'm a major league hitter, if I'm standing up to the plate and they're like, okay, this guy throws 103 miles an hour. Do you want him to have pine tar or not? I'm gonna be like, dude, put whatever you need.
Yes, I do.
Fuck yes, I do. I don't want this dude losing control and smashing me in the side of the head. Are you crazy?
And this goes back to and this ties into our friend Trevor here is asking what happened to the Astros this weekend. A friend of mine, Paul LaDuca, major league catcher, 4-time All-Star. We were in Texas, in Houston, when the Astros scandal kind of broke. And his whole thing was, and I tend to agree with him here, there were several instances where teams caught the Astros. The Yankees caught him once, and the White Sox caught him once. They heard the trash cans, and they called the catcher out to the mound, and they wound up doing nothing about it. LaDuca's answer to me was, if I'm the catcher and I hear this trash can, I'm hitting the next 3 batters.
Yes.
Because
100%.
it's going to stop it. If you hit them and you tell them, if I hear another trash can, another guy's getting hit, it's going to stop, right? Like it's going to stop. But for baseball, which pretends with their unwritten rules and they police themselves, how the fuck did nobody notice that a trash can was getting banged in a locker room every time you threw a breaking ball?
Yep. Well, it's called situational awareness. There's some people, right, that you talk to and like, I haven't gotten a speeding ticket in 45 years. That's because
Ted
they
Allen.
sort of, Ted Allen. But some people just
Still here.
of course he's still here, jerking off in his corner, crying, probably using his tears, crying because his mom's not letting him stay up past midnight. I don't know, weird guy. But there's situational awareness about things, right? Like where you just know something is off. They have to be such meatheads and so just dumb. I played baseball for years. If I heard cans rattling in the background, give me a break. Of course, I'd be like, what the hell is going on?
Every time there's a breaking ball? Every fucking time?
And no one caught it? No one caught it during the games? Give me a fucking break.
The thing is, brother, two teams visibly caught it. Like, how do you not say, fuck it, we're putting one in their ear hole?
Yeah, I mean, that's where my pitch is
because
going.
the umpire is going to ask what's going on, and you're going to say, if I hear a trash can again, I'm hitting the next guy.
Yep, exactly. This could have been nipped in the bud a long time ago. And again, this is baseball trying to get out of its way, right?
I'm not defending the Astros, but like nobody took any action here.
To me, it's the most mind-boggling thing. It just kind of blows my mind. And then you start seeing the reports like, oh yeah, this team had cameras here, this team had cameras there, and it finally took a player who was who was it? Was it Garrett Cole who was the snitch? Who was the snitch?
Oh, it was Mike Fears.
Yeah, Mike Fears. Yeah, Fears. Pitched for the A's or something after that.
He pitched for the Astros, then went to the A's.
Yeah, went to the A's. You got to be kidding me here. I just don't. It's one of those things where if that was happening, like if my son was on that team and I'm like, dude, you guys didn't pick up on this. You're a bunch of dumbasses. You're a bunch of dumbasses. I'm tired of hearing the Dodgers whine.
Leo, you're wrong, Leo. You can hear it on the fucking replays. Don't tell me that a catcher can't hear it.
Yes, of course.
And they did.
Can hear
the
it.
Yankees and the White Sox visibly responded to it.
Yes.
They went out to the mound and talked about it and changed their signs. Don't change your signs. Fucking drill Springer and Altuve next time up. And when the umpire says, because he's going to say, what's going on, you say, the next time I hear a trash can, I'm hitting the batter.
Yep, exactly. And I'm hitting them hard. And you know what? I'm not aiming for the head. I'm aiming right for that dick. I'm going to smash your left nut off your body. Like
whatever. Just fucking hit the guy.
Yeah, exactly. I don't disagree.
That's what LaDuca said to me, and it made a ton of sense because as somebody who caught in the major leagues, that was his answer. If I heard this, I'm calling for the guy to get hit.
Yep.
And the guy after that is getting hit too.
Yep. And then eventually they'll figure, and then once the umpire asks, say, hey, why don't you listen for the trash can, bro? I mean, it's that simple. But the problem is these umpires are so goddamn delusional. They can't call a ball or a strike. It's the same with all sports. We can go to the NFL. We're talking about the most profitable North American sport there is. This sport is global. The Super Bowl is the most watched event in the entire world.
Yep.
And we still have 85-year-old guys with chain links deciding if you got 10 yards. Okay.
The best was when Gene Steratore busted out an index card to see if what are you doing? Soccer's got VAR. Tennis has fucking instant replay that shows where a ball landed within a millimeter of the line. But the NFL, we're breaking out index cards.
Yeah, exactly. And how I know they're guessing, it was a Monday Night Football game last year where we're actually doing a live show. And I had actually called a 50-plus yard touchdown to Tyreek Hill in the quarter. Mahomes comes out. He hits Tyreek Hill for a 70-yard touchdown. Tyreek Hill doesn't catch it cleanly. The ball bounces up.
Yep.
Tyreek Hill gets up upset. He's like, "Oh, I dropped it." The referee
remember the play. Tyreek Hill did not act like he caught the ball.
He didn't think he caught it. And it doesn't matter to me. It proved my point that these NFL referees and umpires are guessing instead of watching what actually happens. So Tyreek Hill gets up. I didn't catch it. Even Andy Reid, after all the replays, does not challenge the call. They do the replay over and over again. The ball,
clearly
he did drop it, never touched the ground. It was a touchdown. And the referee, he wasn't watching the ball. He was watching the reaction of the player and guessing what happened because the dude is 85 with fucking cataracts and can't see what the hell is going on. That's exactly what's happening with Major League Baseball. These fucking guys can't hear or see. They're just guessing. They just guess. And they have billions of dollars at their fingertips with bettors, with player contracts, coaching contracts, and they're just guessing. It's the most mad. Soccer, for all the shit I give soccer, they kind of take that out of it. They're like, yeah, we got a laser on there. So with the ball crosses the line, we know it. We don't need right. Your bullshit guess.
Why do we not have that in the NFL?
It's something.
Or the NHL or any other sport. Why don't we
have chain gang is something I'll still never understand. Every time I see them come out and pull the fucking chain, I'm like, okay, well, we have lost all ability to have common sense, which is true for America. That's why we can't. That's why we have to be nervous about making some jokes, satirical jokes
about Hitler.
Because we turn into pussies and we're silly. That's why China makes a bridge in 20 hours and it takes us 20 months because we become silly pussies. The sooner that ends, the better off we're all going to be.
Kyle, that's a great note to end this on. That's been the second episode of the Backdoor Cover. We're going to take next week off because it's the 4th of July and none of you are going to be watching this. Right. So we'll be back after that on July 11th with another episode of the Backdoor Cover. Visit manscape.com. Promo code 2idiots, 20% off, free shipping on your order. It's a great way to go. Visit Better Than Vegas, betterthanvegas.com, betterthan.vegas. Either one, get you the same place. Kyle, it's been a pleasure, buddy.
I love you, brother. This is always a highlight of my night, and I can't wait for 2 weeks. I'm sorry we have to be off next week. It's actually
no one's going to watch it.
Yeah, it's my fault. I'm going to be
July 4th.
I'm going to be trying to do the two-way without them knowing in the same night from my home. That's just what's going to happen. I'll fill you all in on that the following week. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier to talk about that night.
Great weekend.
I cannot wait for that sports weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm going to miss BlackJack in the meantime. I'll be texting.
We'll be back.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. We're out.